It's so rare that I talk or do videos exclusively about this platform. And that's, partially because I really focus on things that, are more effective in the day to day. But Susan, darling, my love, mama mia, I'm pretty sure you was bad. Like you know what? Susan used to be bad back in the day, like 20 years ago, before she became a mom and became a soccer mom and started exuding that Karen energy. Susan was probably bad back in the day. I mean, it wouldn't even really surprise if it was part of the reason, like that work she put in back then is part of the reason she at where she is right now. But either ways, Susan, you're being a Karen. And this is coming from somebody who's relatively close to breaking that threshold that you got above and that you got set up with the 1,000 subs and the 40,000 hours watch time. And honestly, I already broke the watch time. I mean, I broke the watch time months ago. But when it comes to this stuff, I know I have absolutely no what's the word? I carry no illusions or any disillusions. You have no interest in monetizing my content by any stretch of the imagination. And you know what? That's okay, because to me it's the message, it's the point that I aim to get across that's far more important than money, which is why I'm able to do the amount of content that I do on a daily basis. And so we got this coming to us from the Daily Wire. And like I said, the soccer mom Karen energy coming off of Susan Wojcicki, who is the CEO of YouTube, is just it's fantastic. YouTube CEO will remove any content that goes against WHO recommendations, and this is written by Hank Berrien. WHO recommendations. The World Health Organization, the same organization that has that Marxist advocate, or like I think he was like a Marxist lawyer in place. The same World Health Organization that has been rather, I guess, real bullshitty about its about its connections to China and how they've been trying to, really underplay China's role and what's taking place. I mean, the same WHO that was that really had the what was that, the one world, the global citizen united, just having the whole communist Marxist we hate your guts and we mad and we're pissed off that we lost a lot of wars vibe going for them. And to have an American company, because I believe YouTube to be as such, to have them bending to their whims is a bit on the ridiculous side. Like really, anything that goes against the WHO's recommendations, but their recommendations have been trash. The recommendations have been trash, and the question becomes, because I don't want to attach any type of malicious or treasonous type behavior to anybody else's actions, but the question becomes like, yo, like who you with, who you rocking with? Like, as Americans, right? Like, we are a country. There are values that we hold high above any and all else. And y'all been making this move towards the corporate tube thing, the them tube, the corporate tube, the establishment tube, just completely ignoring the fact that that's the reason people come to the platform. The reason people come to platforms and listen to the likes of the Temples and in the TYTs, like them or not, is because it was something different than what us knowing, particularly as Americans, that that the regular media was completely owned, and everybody that we're watching is just sitting there lying to us, right? Like that's really has been the main appeal of this platform when it comes to the news side of things, is getting things that, getting different perspectives and different angles and far more genuine, honest, and sincere perspectives, way more than the roboticized nonsense that Clearwater and the other 5 corporations that own, the rest of the media landscape, uh have been serving us. But instead of, walking into that and embracing that, Miss Wojcicki, what you've done is you've basically sided with the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like sided against sided against the people that ultimately help build the platform. I wouldn't be making content, and I definitely wouldn't be watching the platform as much as I did if I didn't have that little spurt, that little span of time in 2014, 2015 watching TYT, right? Because it was like, oh wow, these guys, they seem like they're really on the ball. And that's the funny thing about life, right? Is that people always show you who they are in a loss. You know, when somebody wins, that's great. That's fantastic because things went their way. But it's always more telling to see how people react when things aren't going their way. And that's what we've witnessed over the past, 5 years, 4 years since Trump's election, where where the establishment in and of itself has been really kicking in high gear the propaganda, their nonsense, and at a time when YouTube could be taking advantage of the fact that there's a lot of sincere and genuine people on the platform just looking for answers and trying to piece things together themselves. What do? They're like, oh no, massa, we just gonna get down with you. And the crazy part is that this isn't a United States thing. This is some type of globalist, no open borders. We can, like, no, there's no such thing as a country type swag that they got going on there. But yeah, I'm sitting here just going off because it's infuriating. Like, Karen, this world was built to save you. This world was built to help you, and you actively try and destroy it. You got, oh my goodness, patriarchy, bam, and just try to burn it down. And that's another thing about having these people inserted places as opposed to them being the people who created these things. Or having, like in New Jersey, where we have this governor who purchased his seat. He didn't earn his seat. Nobody in New Jersey knew who this man was before he came through with his flyers and shit. But he purchased his seat, greasing the right wheels, and he was put into a position. And now he's sitting here trampling on our constitutional rights. And Susan, you didn't build YouTube. You were placed into that seat by the board. And guess what? Once again, you have no real respect for the thing that you didn't build. Sad. It really is. Now let me get into this article. Sorry, Daily Wire, but I felt like going off for a little bit there because this is bullshit. Watching all of these Americans completely ignore the fact that we're a country. Like, we've been around for like 200 fucking years. How about putting some respect on our name? We finished and we done. Speaking on CNN's reliable sources with host Brian Stelter, YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki stated that anything that would contradict World Health Organization recommendations would be removed from the platform. Wojcicki said, "We have actually seen a 75% increase in the news coming from authoritative sources since the beginning of 2020. So we have seen a lot of demand there, but then we also, and when it comes to demand, like, they sit there and they plaster it all over the place. Fox, CNN, just a lot of the mainstream stuff gets plastered really hard." Stelter interrupted. "What does that mean? That means an increase in video views for those." Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't. Brian Stelter interrupted. "What does that mean? That means an increase in video views for those?" He continued, and so we talk about that as raising authoritative information, but then we also talk about removing information that is problematic. Of course, anything that is medically unsubstantiated. So people saying, like, take vitamin C, take turmeric, like, those are, well, cure you. Those are will cure you. Jesus, how does this woman talk? Those are the examples of things that would be a violation of our policy. Anything that would go against the World Health Organization recommendations would be a violation of our policy. And so remove is another really important part of our policy. Okay, and so remove is another really important part of our policy. So getting rid of people who are just, like, tossing out the nutty cure-alls and the like. Okay, but that goes deeper than that, because it always will. After a live streamed video aired on April 6th with David Icke, whom the BBC describes as a conspiracy theorist, the BBC, in which Icke claimed about the coronavirus that there are a link between 5G and its health crisis, as well as claiming that a coronavirus vaccine would include nanotechnology microchips permitting humans to be controlled and that billionaire Bill Gates should be jailed, YouTube deleted the video. Then the BBC queried why YouTube allowed the video to be aired. A YouTube spokesperson replied, and this is what Tim Pool talks about. This is what they all go in on, where the BBC, who is like, state sponsored, state controlled and shit, goes after, like, they create their own problems, like, because ultimately I didn't even know that this video existed. Most people don't, like, honestly, YouTube, as much as I love you, not just YouTube, internet in general, you don't have the sway that you think you do. Not in the real world. I'm sorry. Yes, does it spill out? Of course, without question. But ultimately, does the internet as a whole, does it really have the sway to move an election like they were claiming with the Trump election? No, it doesn't. Because guess what? People still have to live their lives. In these countries, even though the internet makes it seem like, oh yeah, we're all one great big world, we're not. We are countries. We have our own histories. We have our own traditions and our own values. And guess what? It's best that we all sit there and recognize those lines, those very real world lines. When it comes to the folks like, Susan Wojcicki and like, they're like, oh, well, what are some imaginary lines like in Blow? There's like some imaginary lines. And the judge goes, no, those lines are very real. And they are. Respect them. Damn. We have clear politics that prohibit videos promoting medically unsubstantiated methods to prevent the coronavirus in place of seeking medical treatment, and we quickly remove videos violating those policies when flagged to us. Now, any content that disputes the existence or transmission of COVID-19, as described by the WHO and local health authorities, is in violation of YouTube policies. This includes conspiracy theories which claim that the symptoms are caused by 5G. For borderline content that could misinform users in harmful ways, we reduce recommendations. We'll continue to evaluate the impact of these videos on communities around the world. Well, guess what? If as a platform, that ain't your damn job. As a platform, that's not your job. Sorry. Now, if you're in a publishing business, then that's a completely different thing. But you have to take responsibility for it, and you don't want to. You want to maintain that platform status. So in order to maintain that platform status, you have to operate within the realm of American law. And American law is that Constitution, and that Constitution is freedom of speech. Golly, no one's saying you gotta promote it, YouTube, but the deal is that as far as hosting it goes, I mean, apparently the courts disagree with me. I don't even know what to make of courts anymore, and a lot of this stuff isn't even like oh, you'll hear, right, like, oh man, they lost in this one court. Okay, great. Well, more than likely they'll take it to the next level of court, and that's how lawsuits and the like get so damn expensive, is on appeal. Wojcicki's statement apparently goes further, as the statement from YouTube to the BBC said in the platform would consider content that disputes the existence or transmission of COVID-19 as described by the WHO to be in violation of YouTube's policies. But Wojcicki now broadens that prohibition to include anything that would go against their recommendations, the World Health Organization recommendations. YouTube removed videos of Brazilian President Jair Messias Bolsonaro, in which he extolled the virtues of the drug that Trump was boosting, that everybody says sucks, saying it was the best treatment for the virus. Axios reported on April 7th, YouTube is also aggressively enforcing existing medical misinformation policies that prohibit promoting false cures or encouraging people not to see a doctor. And, Christ, okay, yeah, Bolsonaro stated, all right, let's get into a little bit of what they had going on over here.
A thirst for virus updates. There are a lot of facets to YouTube.
Oh my goodness. Oh, there's Susan Wojcicki. So let's get into this a little bit.
Mis and disinformation is a problem on that platform as well. I spoke with YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki for her first interview since the pandemic really started to spread worldwide about the changes that YouTube has made to address the surge in viewership.
We've served billions of impressions across our network that come from all the different public health organizations and made.
Well, some of her eyes remind me of that Theranos chick, right? Isn't there like a deadness in her eyes that just reminds you of the chick from Theranos? I'm sorry, Susan. I'm sorry. 20 years ago, you was probably bad. I'm just saying.
made sure that people understand what are the resources. I never thought we'd have so many videos of hand washing, for example, but that's just one example, but we've served so many different areas to make sure that users are getting the right information. We've actually seen a 75% increase in the news coming from authoritative sources since the beginning of 2020. So we've seen a lot of demand there. But then we also...
What does that mean?
Yeah, because honestly, just because CNN and Fox and all of them, they're really posting hard onto the platform, but that doesn't particularly lend itself to demand. What you put, like, an autoplay is a really funny thing, isn't it? Because videos just start playing, and those videos actually go into your view history, whether you click on the video or not. So, I mean, when it comes to the click-through rates and the impressions, let's not pretend like games aren't played on that end, Miss Wojcicki.
That means an increase in video views for those?
Yeah, and so we talk about that as raising authoritative information. But then we also talk about removing information that is problematic. Of course, anything that is medically unsubstantiated. So people saying, like, take vitamin C,
Okay, so I read through all of this. It's just Hutch saying exactly what we already read through. And the deal is that what do I talk about on this channel all the time? Minimizing, right? You want to make things seem as easy and as light and as breezy as possible, when in reality, you're gonna, you have absolutely no problem crushing, voices that go against that narrative. You'll have no problem crushing a voice that goes against that WHO narrative. And with the WHO really doing what they've done and backing and really rocking so hard with China and the like, and really showing their hand when it comes to where their interests lie, and their interests don't lie in the individual. The interest lies in their ideologies of communism, Marxism, and really having those take over, particularly the Western society. And in many cases it's worked, and what we're seeing is now the turnaround from that hey, wait, no, we recognize this now, and so we're not gonna we're not gonna take this bullshit. Or really not. The only reason I didn't want to say we're not gonna take it is because that song is now playing in my freaking head. But it's like, come on, man. This is ridiculous, YouTube. And this isn't what you were particularly. It went from broadcast yourself to, authoritative sources. But either ways, guys, I rarely, if ever, talk about the platform. I'm rather close to that benchmark, and I know I'm not getting monetized at all, but I do feel like, hey, I have a little space to actually say something when it comes to just that, and draw that link to the whole Karen soccer mom energy, and how it really does screw up everything that you like, and it's because of the whole risk reward. She has no interest in taking any risk, so yeah, she's not going to have any reward, and guess what, neither will regular old folks who's just out here trying to make a name for himself. So with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff, if you liked it, toss it a like. Dislike, go ahead and do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice. You want to get videos like this every single day. Share it, because sharing is caring, and YouTube and BitChute and seriously. And speak. Let me know, what do you guys think in the comments? You guys think I'll get monetized? I'm not getting monetized. I'm definitely not getting monetized. But either ways, I still think that as a American company, YouTube should be beholden to American standards, and that standard is the Constitution, where we have freedom of speech. But that's just not where they're at with it. So who knows if this will change, how it'll change. I'm over on BitChute anyway as well, so come see me over there. And until the next one.